I'm going to share with you today a bit about burnout, this modern disease that gets us feeling mainly lost. We lose our identity. And I'm only going to give you some easy to put in practice tips. I know you know the theory. I know that you are perfectly aware of all the things that you can do to avoid burnout, to conquer burnout. But sometimes things happen, you know it in your mind, but do you put it in practice? No. So I'm going to give you something that you can really start acting on from today, from this moment, if you are experiencing this burnout. Long story short, I was in a burnout about 3 weeks ago. Well, you may ask, okay, why? Because she's an NLP trainer. She has all the answers. The thing is that I'm still a human the last time I checked, so it's still work in progress. I'm still learning. However, what I noticed different when I began to put these tips in practice myself is that now I can really know when I'm about to go in burnout. So I know that I need to take not one step back, 10 steps back and reconsider my agenda. Have my to-do list very thin, no more than 3 items. You'll see more as I go along the slides. When you have questions, I'll be so happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. So grab a pen and a piece of paper because I think that you'll have some awesome, easy to put in practice tips. Again, not something transformational, revolutionary that you have not heard about before. I know you know these things. We are just one click away from mainly all the solutions that we need in order to do anything that we want to, in order to control our fears, keep stress away, deal with anxiety. However, these things are sometimes a bit too complicated for us to put in practice in that very moment when the burnout begins. Now, I have found some very interesting definitions of what burnout is. And the most interesting of them all, because I think you can find around 20,000 at least, was this one, a state of physical or emotional exhaustion that also involves reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. Okay, this really drew my attention because there's nothing that may be scarier than to forgetting who you are, why you do the things that you do. Who is it? Who is this person now that after 3 months, when you begin your business, your activity, and be mindful, you don't need to have a business to be burnout, not at all. Sometimes employees are so dedicated, are chasing some things that may be a bit not very realistic, that they lose themselves in the process. And this is a statistic that I have been reading about lately since I have been preparing for this presentation. And there are people that die because of burnout, young people. And this is heartbreaking. Me getting a bit emotional because I was a person that stayed 8 years in a place that I didn't like at my work, at my job. So it's very important to take care of your mental health. Make sure that you always check in with yourself. And if you feel that things are a bit tough, reach out to someone. Okay, now on a more positive note, I am now, after 8 full years of fears and trying to make decisions despite a fear, working as a fear specialist. I have quit my job in 2018. Finally, you may say, okay, it took you 8 years. Why in the world did you stay so long in a job that you didn't like? Well, it seems that fear has this amazing way, since it's a natural part of us, You cannot get rid of us, has this amazing way of building one layer after the other. It was fear of what other people think. Then it was fear of losing money, losing my lifestyle, fear of what is my family going to say? I'll be the laughing stock of the city, of the village. Am I leaving this well-paid job? Yes, I did that, and I am very content about my decision finally. I work with entrepreneurs, with companies, with teams in only 1 hour sessions, because that's why I have today's presentation this short. When you get the tools, you know what to do next time. So you can start putting it in practice without having another encounter with me. I love to have single encounters with my clients, with the managers that I work with. Everyone has a busy schedule, so it's awesome to get the tools, put them in practice, have a direct approach. So this is what I'm going to teach you today. Okay, a bit about loss of personal identity. Whenever this happens, you can't explain to yourself, okay, why am I this position? Why am I in this position? What happened along the way? Now, this is a concept that I use, that I have been using for a few months now, and these are called micro compromises. You may say, okay, I know about compromises, but what's with the micro compromises? These are tiny, small, very, very insignificant decisions that you may take along the way thinking, it's nothing really. I can stay an extra half an hour to help my boss. I can stay an extra hour in the morning to do something for my manager or to help someone prepare for a meeting because I'm a giving person, because I'm compassionate. I can spend an extra hour just preparing for the presentation because I'm really scared things are not going to work out. Deep down, whenever you make this decision that does not align with who you are, especially when you are tired, gets you to create a behavioral pattern. This is a downfall. As easy it is to fall in the trap of the victim mentality, blaming the circumstances, blaming, okay, I need to work because I want more money. I need to help my colleagues because otherwise they'll think I'm a jerk, or I need to help my boss. I want that promotion, don't I? That is when you start doing one thing as you do them all. You start compromising on the most insignificant thing. You'll say, an hour a week extra, that's nothing. I'm going to be brand new the other day. No, you are not. This is the problem. You take yourself for granted. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about self-care shortly to understand that it's high time. It is high time that you put yourself first. Do you have a child? If you do, I know Jessie has a child. I know Christina has a child. Put yourself first. It is impossible in any material and immaterial way to care for someone else if you do not care for yourself first. And this happens when it comes to your job, when it comes to your business as well. Long story short, you need to simply do less. Cut off your to-do list with not more than 3 items per day. 3 items per day. This is going to get you enough mental fuel to take a few steps back. You may say, but I have 10 really important things to do on my to-do list on a daily basis. You just don't understand, Roxana. I have 3 kids. I have a business. My husband is working full-time. My wife has so many duties, so many responsibilities. I know there are millions of reasons why we can mentally explain the burnout, why we should do more. We are all overachievers, aren't we? However, in order to start calming your mind down, you need to make this important decision to cut off Say no to many of the things that you did before until you get a really good hang of your schedule of your life. Because today, the goal is to start building a lifestyle, not a business. I don't want your business running you. You need to run your business. You cannot run a business. You cannot be performing in a job if you are not nourishing yourself properly, if you are not rested enough, if your mental health is going down the drain. Okay, how to remove stress? Something that I started doing a few months ago was to simply stop with this compromising, stop doing the things that I really don't feel that are aligned with myself. If I am very tired, I'm going to excuse myself from a meeting and be honest. I am really tired. I need to rest. Or if I have something that is really urgent to be delivered, an important email to a company, maybe I'm really, really exhausted from doing a podcast or having a presentation or something that may be coming along the way since I have a baby girl. I'll just be honest. During the next days, I'll just apologize. I'm sending you the email with a few delays. Thank you for your understanding. Own your life, own your time, and own your space. Because you know about regret. Regret is something that I began studying more lately, since I kind of studied fear for many years. I know mainly a big part of fear. However, regret is stronger because fear happens right before the event. Regret, since you have guilt and shame involved, it lasts more. So I want you to not regret spending the time, your quality time, your family time, doing something that you regret. Because let me tell you, in May, I had a wonderful client from Canada, a Romanian that has moved there. We had a beautiful relationship. It was a paid client. However, in the evening, because she was in Canada, I'm in Romania, a completely different time zone, as I was coaching her on fears in business, I felt, what the heck am I doing? I want to be with my baby girl and have her go to bed, play with her. We have so many bedtime stories that I read her, and I was thinking, okay, this needs to stop. We had another 3-day training together. And since then, I have reprioritized and reorganized everything that I did with my business, with my professional life. Since if I feel like I want to do something else when I'm doing the professional stuff, it's a really big sign that I need to stop, because I'm going to be heading in a really nasty burnout, as it has happened in the previous months. So I want you to be very mindful of your emotions. How are you feeling when you are doing certain things? The word of the day is going to be no. Say no. Be the one that is completely in charge of your entire life completely. And you know what? You may be thinking, but I'm afraid to say no. What if my friends get upset? I'll be looking like a total jackass if I say no to my colleagues. They have been helping me. I cannot say no to them. Or are you serious? How can I say no to my family? How can I say no to my kids? They want an extra hour of play. I cannot be a bad father. I cannot be a bad mother. You are missing out the most important person in the equation, and this is you. Because the thing is that instead of thinking how others feel when you say no, you should be thinking, how you feel when you say yes to them, but you say no to you. Aren't you upset, frustrated, fearful that you are not going to get your own things done? Very, very ungrateful that you have followed this path if you continually say yes to others but no to yourself, because you start disappointing yourself whenever you put others first. And I know you may have many reasons. I know why it's very easy to put others first. However, your self-esteem again goes down the drain. I want you to really think about this. How are you feeling when you say no to yourself, but yes to others? And this really important question has saved me from going into activities that couldn't really be supporting in a real world of what I'm about to do. Is what I'm about to do really supporting me? It's this easy. You don't need to complicate things. You don't need to overcomplicate or use too complex questions that make you take a step back and say, I'm just too tired. I cannot be bothered with this today. And okay, hoping that the slides are still working. Now, today's word is no. No to something that doesn't make you feel fulfilled in this very moment. You know, you may say, okay, I need a break. Tomorrow, I'm going to take care of this whenever I am rested, relaxed, with my mind organized, with my own agenda properly dealt with. And yeah, if you weren't clear enough, if I wasn't clear enough with today's magical word, it's perfectly okay to say no. And I invite you to do a test with someone that is close to you. Now, you don't need to say no to mainly everything. Cook me dinner. No, I just learned today that I'm going to say no to everything. Make sure that if you really don't want to do something, you just say, no, it's going to be done tomorrow, or it's going to be done whenever I feel that I am okay with this. You know, procrastination has two sides. Procrastination can be sometimes a sign that your body, your energy, your mind, your spirit, and your future self is simply not aligned with something. You get many signs, and there are many gray lines. You have many subtle lines to discuss here, but this definitely is going in a different meeting. And once again, please say no to everything that you don't feel like doing without explaining yourself, unless you want to, unless you feel like it, because I have this great theory that I use on my own many times. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't owe anyone any explanations, not even to yourself. And why is that? It's because you are the only one that knows what's in your heart, how you want your future to look like. So might as well stick to that, stick to your mental image of yourself, because if you don't do this, my friends, if you don't put yourself first, no one ever will. And this is something that I learned the hard way, and I want you to really consider this. Okay, now the science to conquer your burnout. Do less, be more. We are human beings. We are not human doings. I know you know this great quote. I have been thinking about it a lot. Since we do so much, why do you think that we have, ideally in a job, 8 hours to work, ideally 8 hours to sleep, and 8 hours for the rest of your passions, your self-care, family, friends, Think about this. Think about this 24-hour converted into 3 main time slots. Because the more I do this, the thing is that the more relaxed I am. And I used to be an outrageous workaholic. If I think about my schedule last year, it was more than hectic. It was major hell, not only for me, but for my husband as well. Luckily, my baby girl was too small back then, but now as she gets to understand how things work, the dynamics in the family, in my mind, in my life have changed completely when I take more rest, when I take more breaks, because I have noticed that if I am properly rested, I do in one day more than I did before in a week because of mental clarity, mental strength, and being very aligned and open to anything that may arise, very present so that I can say no to anything that comes extra, anything that is more than 3 tasks per day. Because yes, I am keeping with this. Luckily, I got to understand that many of the urgent and important activities on my to-do list were not urgent and not important. What do you know? Could you have expected? I sure didn't. I could not see my day. I could not see my life without doing a certain activity. But when you push yourself just a bit, just a tiny bit, that is when some magic thing happens. And in fact, it's not magic, it's you being present. That's why the second point here is do not multitask. I never want you to multitask. And until a few weeks, I was multitasking in my mind. I quit doing many things at once with my hands, talking on the phone, listening to a podcast, cooking, cleaning the house, arranging toys, cleaning clothes, and so on. You need to make sure that you do one task properly. Give it a few minutes, give it 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the length of the task. Take a short break, finish it. Make sure you finish something before you start something new. Okay. Since we have familiar faces here, you know that I love to teach you on how to ask yourself the best questions, the most effective questions. And why is that? It's because fear happens here. It only happens here in your mind. So this is the most important dialogue that you can ever have in your lifetime, the one that you have inside of your mind, you talking with yourself, you explaining things to yourself. However, let's learn how to look for solutions. Whenever you ask yourself a question that starts with how, why, and what, you will get your focus brought back to what really matters, which is what can you do now, although the circumstances are not favorable, although you are afraid, although you may have lost a huge amount of money. How can you handle it right now despite fear? Whenever there's a problem, you'll find at least 5 solutions when you ask yourself, how can I do this despite fear? Why do I feel like this? Or what's really stopping me? An awesome thing about fear is that once you bring it into your awareness, take it from the back of your mind, in front of your eyes, in front of the conscious mind, being present means that fear is no longer there, because fear mainly happens in 99% of the cases. It is felt as a physical threat. Let's be honest, no one is going to harm you because you have to deliver a presentation, because you need to send a very important email, because you need to do something that you haven't done before. There is no one attacking you. So whenever you get to be present, ask yourself this great question to get present. This is my favorite. How can I do this despite fear? It literally takes you 30 seconds, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper and write the answers down, and you'll see how the monster that you thought that you had here in your mind, the vampire, as we were talking about vampires earlier, is actually a small fly. It's a mosquito. The thing is that fear, when it's brought in front of you, when you see it black on white, especially when you write it down, it's nothing compared to what you thought that the situation actually is. Now, one of my favorite topics in this world, and I think it's yours as well. As I was saying earlier, it took me 8 years to make a decision. However, I have not used the best words because let's be very honest here. We make the decision mentally. We always know what to do. We know which is the next step. However, what is the hardest thing here? Putting it in practice, that dreadful start into action, the first step. Once you do the first step, it's amazing. A short story from my side. I began taking cold showers in 2019. I could never in a billion years would think before that time that I could ever do this. And I was thinking, why would I ever in this lifetime want to do this? You know about Wim Hof, someone that is the most fantastic friend of cold. He has so many amazing achievements. And the more I studied his work, and he had a challenge with the cold showers, he explained how you need to get used to cold, how you need to have your body and your mind slowly but surely adjusted to it, how you need to breathe. Okay, I think that I can test this out. The first step of me having cold water on my shoulders is something that I will never ever forget as being one of the most challenging things of my life. Giving birth, not even close. Moving to a new country, not even close. I really wanted to see what is this raving all about? Why do people are so enthusiastic about cold showers? And now after many years, I understand. It's amazing. I recommend you put this in practice. It literally changes your mind completely. It's for mental strength. This is what gym also does. So that's why I'm telling you, the first step may be something so awkward, so strange, so completely unachievable that you have million reasons why you should not do, but do not let go. Don't give up on you. If you feel that there's an attraction for you to do something, don't let fear stop you. You need to be pushing a bit harder. Take another paragraph to read about your dream the next day, in a week. Take a break, take a 1 week break, come back again. Put a sticky note to remind yourself to do that thing. One thing that I have learned along the way is that you cannot be dreaming small. You need to dream not huge. You need to dream outrageously big. It's the only way that you can get yourself moving. The more outrageous it is, you may say, well, if it's outrageous, why should I keep it in my mind? I'll just let it go and that's it. I'm never going to achieve it anyway. However, make it hugely, make it really, really outrageous so that your mind thinks, okay, well, if it's this outrageous, why am I attracted to it? Why do I want to see how it may feel? Don't give up. There are times, and I know that you have been here. Do let me know in the chat box when now in this very moment, you are in a place where a few years ago, you may have thought, I could never do this. I could never be in this place. And I know that Joyanne has a fantastic inspirational story that you are going to learn about tomorrow. Never ever give up on you. Don't let fear stop you, no matter how outrageous and awkward your dream may be. And one thing that I want to embrace with you today is to understand that things go different, things don't go wrong. Let's start to look at mistakes as something normal, natural along the way, something that you learn, because the human nature in us, of course, we are all perfectionists by nature. We have fear by nature. Perfection derives from fear. We want to have all the steps. We want to have everything laid out perfectly and completely in front of us, and we think that we should be doing this with so much more ease. I am a neuro-linguistic programming trainer for 4 years now. I should not be feeling burnout. However, there is no way that we can have our body, our system adjusted to new situations on the spot. It may take a few weeks, a few months until we have everything put in place. However, know that mistakes are normal. It's just another step along the way. And I know you know Michael Jordan's story. He got to be this god of athletics and of sports because he says, I failed more than anyone. That's why I get to be so good at it. That's why I understand the process, and now I know what to do different. That's why different is an awesome word to use besides fear. When you have something that doesn't go as you have planned, don't say it's wrong. It's just different than what you had expected, because many times, you know, we are in a situation, we may lose a job, we may end a business, but then in a few months, we'll see that, okay, this was actually a blessing. I really needed this. I really had to go through this burnout just because I am so much more aligned with having a lifestyle, not a business. Even Carmichael, it took me a few months, I think 2.5 months of me watching Yvonne Carmichael's videos on YouTube. You may know him, he's a fantastic YouTuber. He's one of my favorites, how he combined the best of the best from the most amazing personal development gurus out there. He put it all in one place. And now, guess what? He has more followers and he has more views than the actual gurus himself. So this does fascinate me. He says that you cannot build a business until you build a lifestyle. It took me indeed many weeks to listen to this message again and again. And at one point I thought, okay, this person is saying this that often because maybe it means something. Maybe he has a point, since he is very successful and he does have an amazing healthy lifestyle. He plans his meals. If you check his Instagram profile, he's just amazing. He does this awesome fruit salad, meat organizing, and that inspires me so much. This guy, and I want to be like that, is putting effort into his health, into his self-care, into his well-being. Can he run a successful business? Can you run a successful business if you are not fully healthy, fit, well hydrated, well nourished, rested? I am pretty convinced that your answer is no. So think about this. Think about building a lifestyle, not a business. Sleep more, walk more. And I have to acknowledge Bob for saying something a few weeks ago that I really loved. You know, Roxana, I work hard, but I play hard. And this is very powerful when you get to understand that you need to enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you continually keep pushing and producing and doing and achieving and accomplishing, that's awesome, that's amazing. But when do you have time to enjoy that money? When do you have time to enjoy that success? Since you're every single day in your laptop, in your computer, on your phone, take a break, my friends, and you are going to have some amazing results. Take it from a workaholic that could not even think about getting a break. And it's very funny when I think of it now. It's a process. Be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself, and know that if you could do more, you would do more. If you could have done more, you would have done more. So make peace with your past and learn from it, because let's normalize mistakes. It's normal to not have things going your way. And why is that? You may be thinking, well, Roxana, I know about the law of attraction. That is, whenever I set my intention, everything aligns. Yes, there is so much more to be debated on this. There are many, many tens of subtle theories for us to talk about in a different meeting. Of course, we don't have that much time now. However, know that there are many things out there, many exterior things and conflicts and COVID and wars and change of climate that you cannot simply control. So let's be focusing on solutions. Let's look at mistakes as lessons and just learn along the way. What I do is to simplify your mindset. I love simplifying fear. I love simplifying the concepts that you are dealing with in this very moment when it comes to your professional life, so that you can put in practice something on the spot right now. You can cut off things from your to-do list. You can start saying no with so much more ease. I have many, many profiles. I'm a very social media friendly person. I enjoy social media. You can find me everywhere. You'll find wonderful free content on my podcast, as Bob says, stories about fear. I'm on YouTube with answering your questions about fears in business. I have many posts, many reels about quick, easy to put in practice tips, because I know that you want solutions now. I know that you want answers in this very moment. And you can also go to my website, oxanapope.com, and download the 7-step guide to permanently conquer your fears. You are going to enjoy a great tool that takes around a minute, that shows you how easily you can shape your mind. Your mind is your playground. Take it literally. Your mind can be a place where you decide every single moment what you put in it. And long story short, today's summary, and I really hope that I did not go too much over the time that we have had today. Stop compromising, do less, put yourself first, relax more, normalize mistakes, and it mainly all comes down to you. Focus on you. Focus on how you look at yourself in terms of business, in terms of job, and put this on the third or fourth place in your life, because you need a lifestyle. You need to focus on your passions. You need to focus on what makes you happy, because I know you know this. Sometimes it's just not obvious until someone tells it to you directly. It's one life, not more. It's just one life. So today's magic word was no. Say no more often. Say no whenever you feel that I just don't want to do this now. And then ask yourself some questions, the ones that I previously mentioned. Why do I feel like this? What is it really stopping me? Because when you ask yourself questions, sometimes in a minute. It works just this easy and efficient. In a minute, you'll get some answers that you did not even think about having. So it's about you, your lifestyle, and saying no. If you have any questions, I'll be so happy to answer them in the chat. Thank you to everyone.